Classroom of the Elite is a fan favorite when it comes to psychological anime. A true classic that everyone enjoyed half a decade ago because of its well thought out storytelling, filled with a bunch of well written and really detailed characters. Some of them loved for their sheer intelligence, some of them for their personality, and some of them for… you know what? The story takes place in near future Japan, in Kodo Ikuzei Senior High School, known for its 100% employment and college entry rate. A high school created by the government to help nurture and develop the next generation into adults that will benefit the country. A school that from first glance seems pretty normal, nothing out of the ordinary other than its payment system, where the students receive every single month 100,000 yen or around $740, with what they can buy food, or video games, or clothes, basically anything. A pretty weird idea considering that the students are just a bunch of 15-year-olds that probably received this much money for the first time in their life. It's obvious that most of them will spend all of it really early on. Throughout the first month of the school, it was fairly quickly understandable that something isn't right. Their teacher was very lenient, which meant that talking between each other, napping, tardiness, and straight up absences became the norm, which overall doesn't make any sense. Like, who the fuck would miss a class with a hot teacher like that? But for real though, despite being one of the most successful schools, it doesn't make any sense how it will develop the next generation of adults that will benefit the country. Later on, it's revealed that the system isn't as obvious as it seems. They don't just receive 100,000 for nothing, it's the maximum they can get, and every mistake they do will lower that amount. And the D class made so many mistakes that they don't receive any money anymore, which means that most people are already broke. From first glance, the school seems like it's a paradise. 100% employment and college entry rate, free money for nothing, and they don't really do anything in classes. When in reality it's quite the opposite. If they want to succeed, they must work twice as hard as their grades, while also defining them also affect the amount of points they get each month. In the school full of elite students, competition, subtle plans and mind games are rife where every mistake can cost you points or worst cause the whole class to be punished. In this environment, where classes see each other as mortal enemies, only those with conviction, creativity and adaptability can hope to survive and prosper. In this story, we follow Class D, the lowest class of the school's class system, filled with a bunch of talented and elite students that are corrupted in some way. They are good enough to be in the best class, but there is something that holds them back, which is why they were put into the weakest class in one of the most prestigious schools. Inside the D class, we mainly follow Kyotaka Ayanokoji. From first glance a quiet, laid-back person that never wants to draw any sort of attention and just rather remain in the background. A fan favorite from the very first minute of the show, thanks to how relatable he is. He's just like me. Wait. He asked a girl out and received 2 girls' number already? Okay, he ain't like me at all. As the series goes on, it becomes quite obvious that he cares about others and helps as much as he can, as far as he doesn't feel like he is involved at all. I overall love his character, only wanting to be this background character, hiding his intelligence. To be fair, he hides basically everything about himself. It feels somewhat quirky, but it's just really entertaining. I also love how accurately they represent the boy's interest in boobs. It's there, he's looking, he's admiring it, but not for too long where it would seem as something creepy. The show focuses a lot on inner monologue, where we can kind of understand how the main character feels and we can kind of predict what he tries to do without it being way too obvious. Now this inner monologue only exists for his character. There is no one else. It makes everyone else seem a lot less trustable, but at the same time it's a great way to show that we don't know more about the other characters than what our main character does, which makes everyone feel a lot more mysterious and you just have to wonder how genuine they truly are. Now what made his character for me even better is that we know that he isn't the character we seen him as. He has 2 drastically different personalities. A personality where he's shown to be a calculating and manipulative person, and also a smart one that is not above using people for his own ends. Now one thing I wonder about is when will that switch happen? When will his true personality become the norm and what that will be like? Our other main character is Suzune Horikita, however the show doesn't really treat her like Ayanokouji. We don't really follow her as a separate person, we just simply see her a lot more together with Ayanokoji than anyone else. Her personality traits are overall very similar to Ayanokoji's, a quiet, well-mannered but distant person. However, she's really unapproachable. She doesn't trust anyone, she doesn't want anyone. She wants to rely on herself and only herself. basically the typical Ice Queen persona, that slowly builds down as the series goes on and becomes someone much more approachable, however still quite distant by the end. I overall really liked about her character that how she's shown to be a very determined person, with good decision making and analytic skills that she uses not just to her own benefit, but to defend her own class. The biggest difference between the two main characters are that while Ayanokoji is someone that wants to stay alone, just mind his own business, Horikita is someone that is lonely and vulnerable and just wants to rely on someone that she can trust, despite the fact that she seemed as the exact opposite of that at the start. Kiki Okushida from the first glance is a kind, positive and well-mannered girl that's kind to everyone that she meets and is widely regarded by many to be the class idol within the class. A person that seems to value friendship and bonds quite highly, as she shows that she cares a lot about her friends. However, from the start it became quite obvious that she's not like that. No one in the world is that friendly, that helpful, that caring. It's predictable yet still somehow surprising. Her main objective from the start was to become friends with everyone, to be able to use them out and get ahead of them, to be able to manipulate them. When Ayanokoji figured it out what kind of person she is, she quickly relied on simply blackmailing him if he tells anyone. However, later on the show it kind of feels like nothing ever happened. Even when there are only the two of them, she still puts on an act which I never really understood. Ailee Sakura, a really quiet person, with a distinct problem of having a low self-esteem, which made her jittery and prone to becoming nervous when people talk to her, which manifested in her attempts to defend her personal space. She became like this because she tried to hide who she is outside the school, that she's a model, which made her scared to interact with others and just leave her personal space. However, after that weird ass scene that I genuinely never want to see again, it was so fucking weird, she gradually starts to change, becoming more open with herself, while also trying to be more confident in herself, and more importantly, trying to get to know people that helped her. After Ayanokoji, she is probably my favorite character, maybe because I just really relate to what she went through, but also, she's the best girl. We also have this guy with a gigachat, these guys that are always horny, the teacher is quite hot, this guy is stupid as fuck, but how can we hate him when he defends hamburgers? This girl is just weird, I don't understand her at all. The brother of Susan is also hella weird. Like, what the fuck did he wanted to do there? Overall, a really entertaining show with a bunch of interesting scenes where the whole goal is to outsmart everyone else. But it also has quite a lot of flaws. Like the first problem they solved by buying an extra point with money, that's smart as fuck. No one said you can't do that. The second one where they tried to trick those guys that the cameras recorded everything, I really enjoyed that. But what the fuck was the third one? The whole island thing felt so stupid and not logical at all. Like first, at the start the A class, the supposedly smartest ones, just straight up showed who has their card. It was just so obvious. I thought there would be something more behind it, but no. Then later on D-class emails that girl for I don't know what reason, it didn't make any sense at all. There was also that underwear stealing stuff, like why no one think about that maybe it was someone from another team. Then that part where it started raining, why did they have to wait 2 minutes for the leader to say what they should do? It's raining, it's quite obvious. The whole part felt stupid, but still, overall a really good show with great characters that definitely bring the show to another level, and the production behind it definitely helped a lot. Coming from a studio that did stuff like Assassination Classroom, and the outstanding anime that changed everything, Monster Musume. The music was outstanding, it was insanely well done and fitting, the character design and animation is amazing. The only thing I found weird were the eyes, but most people really liked that. It's a show that was nowhere near perfect, yet I just really enjoyed it and it was really entertaining. Can't wait for second season and yeah, that's about it. Like, subscribe, see ya!